Obviously really excited to get the season started, get first practice in. Grateful for you guys, coming from Latrobe and working with the Steelers and being here. Got a great crowd today, so appreciate all the hard work you guys put into Pitt football. It's going to be a heck of a year. I think we got a talented football team. They're fired up. They're energetic. They're locked in. I think we have as good a leadership as I've seen here just through the summers. I mean, just less little issues here and there, and there's always issues. But less issues than we've had, last couple of years for whatever reason. Coach Stacchiotti's had a heck of a summer with our guys, and we're excited to get this thing rolling. So, questions?
The past 3 years, he started a transfer quarterback in his first year with the program. Eli's obviously coming back as a starter. What does that do for your program, and what have you kind of seen from him?
Yeah, when you look back at guys you had in your second year, it's been a while since we have a 2-year quarterback, correct? I mean, from Slovis to Phil to last year to before it was Kenny. So it's nice to go into year two, and I got a lot of questions last week down in Charlotte just about year two of the offense with Coach Bell, year two with Eli quarterback. I mean, that's always special when you got that continuity. I don't think there's nothing better than that. I mean, you're going into this season knowing what Eli's done, what kind of football player he is. We're not sitting there wondering what's going to happen on game day. I think we all have a pretty good idea. Man, he had a heck of a day today throwing the ball and scrambling. He took off. I hadn't seen him scramble like that since last season. Spring ball, he certainly didn't. He moved, but not as clean as he did today out of the pocket. And it was a small little hole that he burst through. But we're fired up to have, year two.
And how impressive is that, Coach, too, just in this day and age, whatever, all these kids entering the transfer portal and stuff, and to have him come back and have that continuity when all of that's going on, I mean, does that also speak to the program? And he's dedicated, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Eli's dedicated, but there's a bunch of them are. I don't know all the background stories I heard last week in Charlotte that people were hitting Des up. The great thing, it never got to my office. I have a lot of meetings in my office, but it gets real when they're there. But that tells you there was not even a thought of it. He can talk about it now. We can have all kinds of stories, but it wasn't an issue where we were like, oh, what's going on? What are we doing here? What can we do to help? So, we had a lot of guys get tampered with. It's the name of the game right now. It's awful for college football to have tampering and to have, GMs calling your players and, find out if they're interested. It's just, and if this transfer portal opens up, and they're talking about April, May, if it opens up later, it's just going to allow more time for, teams and colleges to evaluate your talent, okay? And they have 3 months to evaluate talent to find out who they want. And they got 3 months to tamper as opposed to one portal window in December or January. So I know they're talking about one portal window, but let's hope there's one, and let's hope it's the right time too.
This is year 11 for you. You're 3-9 in 2023, coming off a 6-game losing streak. But the world of college football, where it is now, revenue sharing, all of that, what type of pressure have you felt to get this program back to that 2021 type season?
You know what? You never feel pressure. I mean, if you feel pressure, you got issues. Okay, I'm never feeling pressure. You have what you have. I feel like we should have won 11 games a year ago. If we'd have got blown out in 6 games, I'd really feel like, ooh, that's not good. But we go out every week. We as coaches, as head coach, as players. Our guys they work as hard as anybody in the country. And we had a little luck early in the season. We didn't get lucky near the end of the season. I felt like there was 2 games I was disappointed in, that Louisville game and that SMU game. Other than that, I mean, if I'm a fan, I'm going, shoot, 11, every game is going down to the fourth quarter, and it's a game of inches, and you got to win those inches, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But, there's never a feeling of pressure. I mean, when you work like we do, you don't worry about that. If I'd feel pressure if I didn't work so hard, if our staff didn't give everything we got.
How do you think that Eli's grasp of the playbook has progressed since he came here last year?
Yeah, and you can imagine, everybody's grasped year 2 better than year 1. But he certainly is, far and above where he was a year ago. And again, add another year onto that. Where's he going to be next year? As we're talking in 2026. So, there's so many off-season meetings. We've been meeting all summer. It's not like the guys reported to camp today. Like in the NFL, they reported to camp when they reported out to Latrobe. Our guys have been here all summer. We're allowed to have them all summer. Stacchiotti's got them all summer. We gave them a 4th of July week off. Other than that, they've been, summer term 1 and 2. They've been here all year, and again, they're meeting. They're meeting with coaches. They're meeting with their positions. They'll have individual meetings, where it's player-led. they're into the tape. Matter of fact, I walked out of here today, and, after practice, Nate Temple's like, Coach, can we get all the big plays on a cut up so we can watch them as a team, as a defense? I'm like, yeah, it's real easy. Push a couple buttons and we got it. So they are into it like that, which I've never had a player after practice one say, I want that video made.
Talk about the leadership. How much is it, a part of the message from those guys on down that they want to get kind of the bad taste out of their mouth from the end of last year?
Yeah, I mean, they talk about it, certainly. To me, it's those losses, it's the missed free throw, it's the missed three-pointer to lose the game. I mean, that's how you learn. I mean, you don't learn by winning every week. You learn by those bumps in the road, the bad days, and you bounce back. And like I said, I never questioned our kids' effort a year ago. I could question a lot of things, but I won't do it on camera today. Our kids played their tails off and gave it all they did based on the health that we had on our football team. It's hard when your starting quarterback's not out there. I mean, Eli was 7-1 as a starter, and then you're bouncing around, and it's just different.
Your defense was strong last year, specifically the linebackers. Do you think that this group, it is early, but do you think this group you have this season can kind of hit that threshold too?
No question about it, and I think our D-line's better as well. But with Braylon Lovelace in the middle, with Biles on one side and Lewis on the other side, that's three guys that can run. And again, Lovelace, no one's really talking about him, but he reminds me of Servassier Dennis inside. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he can run and make plays. And we've got 3 outside linebackers playing, linebacker this year. And I think topped up, we've got a talented football team. We got to stay healthy. We got to play complementary football offensively and defense, which I think we will even better than we did a year ago.
Pretty strong nucleus of returning players from last year. Obviously, in this day and age, that's not easy to do. How did you go about doing that, about just maintaining your roster? And is that indicative of so many guys wanting to come back that there is a belief in the room about something special being possible this year?
Yeah, I think it starts with who we are. Like the number one program goal here is having relationships with our players, and I think that's where it starts. We didn't have to fight to get our guys to come back and be here, because I think of how it is every day. It's not, the portal's closed and let's be nice to our guys this week. That's kind of how we are. I think you've got genuine people in this building that love each other. And I think when you have that, money, we've had guys get offered a lot more money to go someplace else, get tampered with, that don't even, say a word. They want to be here. They want to play in Pittsburgh. They love what we do, how we do it here. And again, it's a tribute to, Alan Green and Chancellor Gable, just on, the support we're getting from up in the athletic department.
Pitt has had a lot of great running backs over the years. What does Des Reed need to do this season to get to that level?
Des Reed, boy, I think if he just does what he did last year plus whatever. I thought he had a great answer to a question last week, like, do you need to get a break? He goes, I'll do whatever the team needs. So it's not about his stats. He's as selfless as you get. When he gets an opportunity to touch the ball, whether it's catching it, running it, returning it, just be who you are. And that's kind of what I know we'll get out of that guy. He's consistent. We're not going to, he's not going to have a big head coming into 25 that I'm an All-American and I don't need to practice. That's not him at all. I mean, he's ready to roll, and he'll be on that list of great backs here at tailback.
Pat, with the amount of injuries you guys had last year, is there more of an emphasis on load management during camp this year as compared to other ones?
A little bit more, but I don't think that had anything, when your left tackle and your right tackle kind of trip over each other and fall down, it's not like it's I don't want to say freak accident, but, we got to be smart on the field. But, you don't look at a lot of those injuries. It's just like they sometimes happen. We came out of camp healthy last year, for the most part, I believe. Just those, odd injuries, whether it's Eli getting down, that hip drop tackle, whatever it may be. I mean, we just had some, interesting deals there. So I think we'll be okay. But load management, I think we do that already. We have the GPSs on. We're monitoring how many minutes we're on the field, how many plays we're, scrimmage today. We have 43 total team reps, 11 against 11. So we got an amount of plays that we want to get in for the day. We try to stay on that number without trying to go overboard.
Coach, you have 4 players named to 2 pretty prestigious preseason award watch list, the Buckets Award, Maxwell Award. do you pay any attention to that? Do the guys pay any attention to that? Did you talk to them at all? Like, hey, that's pretty cool, or is it rat poison you're telling them don't even pay attention?
Probably rat poison. But I don't talk to them about it because it really doesn't matter. I mean, those are preseason awards. Now, the postseason, different deal. When someone gets a postseason All-American, that's a big deal. Someone's a Heisman Trophy finalist in New York, that's a big deal. But preseason, it could be gone in a weekend. So.
Do you think it gives them a little extra juice, though? They're like, hey, nationally, we are being recognized. Maybe we can go out there and prove it.
Yeah, I definitely think it gives them some juice. And then we'll yell at them for an average practice. But it definitely, I think, gets kids excited. That's what they want. I mean, they came, that's their next step to maybe going to the National Football League, and having those accolades is really what they want. But it comes down to what are you going to do on videotape? What are you going to do? We're exactly 30 days out from our opener against Duquesne, and we got a lot of work to do, and we can't be thinking about our preseason honors.
Okay. Is he on spring ball, your quarterback room changed? I don't think we talked to you about Cole Gonzalez.
Yeah.
What does he bring to this room, and what did you guys see to want to bring him in?
Yeah, I mean, right now, obviously Eli's QB1, but that QB2 spot's open, and we saw Mason this spring. Mason does a heck of a job, and Cole's another addition that I think we tried to get him the first round. He went to Oklahoma. He's back, and we're excited to have him back. What he brings to the room as a new guy is the offense he knows. He's played in the offense. He's accurate. He's got some stuff to him. He's a leader. He really has some leadership skills. Heard him last night. So it was, just his leadership, his knowledge of the game of football, the experience he has, and again, his knowledge of our offense is going to really get him up to a point where he can compete for a job.
With the change in the roster limits, you can now go over 85 scholarships if you want. How many scholarships do you anticipate using this year?
Yeah, we're going to be at 85. We'll be at 85, period. And again, just talking roster, usually I'll tell you if somebody's out or somebody's in, so I'll give you a little update. Jerry, I'm sorry, but Jerry's seat right there. The one thing, Derek Davis he'll be medicaled. Okay, so when you talk about 85 scholarships, he'll be a medical scholarship, so he does not count in the 85. That knee injury, I mean, he tore everything in that knee, and he probably wouldn't be ready till November if he was ready at all. So, so he will take over a coaching role. John Glenn, also kid from Georgia, walk-on, he's also going to go into the coaching role, and he's done a great job. He did signals up here. His mom would be proud of, some of the signaling he did this morning in this meeting. And then we had 2 freshman tailbacks. We brought in 3 freshmen. You guys know, Boosie, that came in the spring and had a heck of a spring. Going to be a really good football player. We had 2 young ones. One came in with a PCL, ligament damage, and had surgery in high school. While he was still in school, and he's a little bit behind rehab, so he'll probably be out for the year, I'm assuming. And then Sinquan Smith, our other tailback, he's also out for the year right now. Which led us to bring in another tailback. You guys probably don't know, Jalen Williams, who's a really good back. We're excited to have him. He's, again, another Western Carolina guy. Got him at a late point, but I think he's a really good back. He's a big back. We've kind of wanted the Derek Davis, the Daniel Carter big back type of guy, so he's a big tailback. But if you put on some tape of him, this guy can make you miss. He changes directions well. He can catch the ball to the backfield, which you guys know we like to throw to our backside of the backfield. This guy can do it all. I'm excited about him. He'd probably be more prepared to play this year, as opposed to some of those other freshmen coming in, because, again, he knows the offense, from the knowledge, of Cade Bell and what they did down there. So he was a great addition. We're going to see how he is live. I thought he did solid today. Watch the videotape, but we're excited to have him as well. So that's kind of the 85 scholarship talk a little bit there. So.
What are some of your early impressions about this O-line? You've added 3 transfers and just a different look.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really good coming out of the spring, with Keith and Stanley, and then obviously Percy. All 3 of those guys are going to play a lot of football for us, okay? Right now, Percy and Keith are starting at, left and right tackle, so those are the replacements there. For 2 injured guys a year ago, I mean, we know, Branson didn't play, and Jacoby came back but didn't play much. So those 2, those 3 guys, I mean, I don't care who starts. So we're much better that way. And then on that right side with BJ Williams, and Ryan Bear's had an unbelievable. That guy looks great. He's leading. He's just another, it's that another year. But Bear looks great. BJ looks great, and Lyndon Coop's a leader for us up front.
You said you think the defensive line is better better. What did you see from the three transfers in the spring?
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Moore, I've talked about him in the past. He came out of spring ball as a guy that can be a starter for us. If he continues to do what he did in the spring and puts 25 practices together this fall, he'll be special, I think, to add with Jimmy Scott. But I just think, inside we got 5 guys inside with Fitzsimmons, who we know, stays healthy early in camp. He was outstanding near the end of the year. Francis Brew, Nick James has played a lot of ball for us, and Francis, Ghost, Isaiah Neal's like 260 pounds right now. He's about 20 pounds heavier than he was a year ago. He's got a great attitude. He's playing. He always plays with a motor. He's going to be a different guy for us. So we're excited there. And then, going back to the defensive ends with Jimmy and Jalen, you got Blaine Spires, you got Nate Temple, you got Joey Zielinski. I mean, we got, Carruthers had a heck of a spring as well. So, we're excited about all those guys. And Carruthers can play inside if we need him. I think he's big, strong, uses his hands well. That guy might be an elite 3 technique one day, too. I mean, he can do it all.
How are you feeling about your secondary just heading into this month? Looking at the returning guys, some of the portal additions, and just the overall depth and makeup of that group.
Yeah, I mean, right now you got Battle and Taman Lynham starting at the corner spot, but you got guys behind him. I mean, Shadarian Harris, most improved player from the spring, nicknamed Drip. I'm not sure why it's Drip, because I guess he's got a lot of drip. Rashawn Murray is a guy that he came into the spring, shooting the indoor facility. He had a one-handed interception. It was like, holy cow, that was big time. That was NFL style there. Then he, got hurt the next day, so he didn't get to finish it. I think he must last 4 or 5 practices. So he was just starting to come on. He had a great summer. I got, Eli and some of the offense guys tell me how well he's doing this summer. So it'll be fun to watch the tape today, which I have not yet, and just see how he progresses. But, with Battle, Lynham, Drip, Rashawn Murray, and then, Sean Lee, kid from Harrisburg, true freshman, he's got some stuff to him. Now, this kid, he ain't the biggest guy in the world, but he's got some stuff to him. Nigel Maynard, we're looking for big things this spring as well. Zion Ferguson, a kid from North Carolina that transferred in here, excited about what he's going to do. Just, learning the defense, it's new to him. But, I feel like we're good at the corner spot. The safety, we've got Brookins and Javon McIntyre to the field with Kavir Baines. Jesse Anderson's into the boundary. We got a kid named Cole Woodson who looks beautiful out there, and he's a track guy. He can run. He's 205, 206 pounds. He looks like, Donovan McMillan did in his 4th year of college football. So, and then Josh Guerriere, another safety. So we've got, again, I love our depth. I mean, we'll go back to the first question about just the transfer portal and keeping our guys. 2 years ago, like our roster got better a year ago. This year, because of the transfer portal, I mean, there's always the negatives of the portal, but to me, it's been a positive portal. We're retaining our players. And again, players that aren't playing are leaving, and we're getting in new players, and we're making good decisions on those players. When you bring in 3 transfer offensive linemen, and you're excited about all 3 of them, and they're going to play for you, like, we got better, right? We have, and when you bring in 3 D linemen that can come play for you right now, you got better. We're not making mistakes. And that's critical. I mean, the transfer portal, you can make some mistakes and make your team worse. Okay, we've done a great job evaluating, getting the right people, and the right athletes that fit. And then obviously our coaches do an unbelievable job of coaching and teaching them.
I think last year at this time there was a lot of internal belief that Kyle Lewis was going to be Kyle Lewis. How's he kind of taken all the accolades in stride, and how he's carried himself this year?
We'll find out. We'll find out come 30 days from now. On the 30th of August, we're going to find out, no different than Dez and all those other guys. I think he's done a nice job. I mean, you watch him in the weight room, you watch what he's doing there, he's done everything he needs to do. I mean, I don't think he's got a fat head. He's a worker. And, anybody can get a fat head. Coaches can get fat heads. Players can get fat heads. But he wants to win. All those accolades are great. Win the Buckus Award, that's great. He wants to win an ACC championship. That's what we strive for.
Could you talk about the transfer portal? How do you go about, you say you guys have done a good job of getting those guys and retaining your own. How do you go about, identifying maybe positions of need and going out and getting those guys and making sure that they are the right guys for your system?
Yeah, it's putting the work in. I mean, it's the video work, it's the character work, it's calling coaches to find out. But it comes down to either watching his high school tape, and maybe you had a previous relationship with him, whether it's MJ Devonshire, who came in here a couple years ago, where you recruit him out of high school, he goes somewhere else. Donovan McMillan, the same thing. Again, we loved him in high school, so it was a natural. We didn't have to go watch a ton of Florida tape, although we did. And the mistakes we made is when we haven't done a thorough job, or we were hoping that he's good enough, but you didn't know for sure. But all those evaluations, whether you get a guy out of high school or not, those evaluations that you go in and you got write-ups in the computer on what you saw that day when you went to a spring ball, those are all major factors as far as what we saw live out of him in high school. And then you're watching, college tape from there. And again, our recruiting office does a great job of identifying, and then we do a good job at, just looking to see what we need. What's it look like? I mean, we got Tyler Wiltz a couple years ago. Great, like, who's this guy from Southeast Missouri? I don't even know if that's his college. I don't even know it's another directional school out there in Missouri. The kid was a great player. I talk about him all the time because he was one of those, who is this guy? Oh, they got some FCS guy. Guy's a great football player, as is Des Reed.
Who's someone who isn't maybe top of the line, but that you're really excited about that hasn't been mentioned?
Okay, that's a great question. I love those questions here. Guys that we haven't talked about yet today, at least. Tony Kinsler, he might have a little strep throat today, so he missed first practice, but I think Tony Kinsler's going to be a dude. I think he's going to help us this year somewhere. Trying to think here. Shep Turk has been impressive. He's, we got him at the center position right now, and you never know how that old line goes, as you guys know, but he's coming, been, obviously a TJ kid, but he's coming, he's been mature, he's strong, he's doing a great job snapping the ball. Talked about Sean Lee already. You talked about Cole Woodson a little bit. Tell you what, the other guy, impresses me, just looking at him, is John Wetzel. We haven't talked a whole lot about, John was a late addition. I'll talk to you about transfer portal. We had 2 scholarships open, when we kind of came out of spring ball. So we had 2 scholarships open, and we took Zion Ferguson. We would have liked to have gotten another transfer, but there was no transfers in the portal good enough, okay? That's a fact. It wasn't like we couldn't get 3 guys. We tried to, we visited 3 and couldn't get them. No, we looked at the portal, and there was none good enough. So we went to the next best thing. Let's go take another great high school football player. And John is going to be he's a football player already. I just see him out there in special teams drills, see him, he's playing a little safety, playing a little linebacker. He's doing a little bit of both. He's 200 pounds right now about. Maybe he's 199. John Wetzel's going to be he's going to play a lot of football for us. And he was a late guy that was committed and signed with Marshall. So we're excited about him as well. But a lot of those young guys I've mentioned already that, let me see if there's some, I guess the other linebacker that we're not talking about, and right now he'd maybe be the 4th linebacker in, is Jeremiah Marcelin. He's a guy, like, our team has faith in this guy. Like, he's a physical dude. He's gonna strike you, hit you in the mouth. He's intense. He's gonna be a fun guy to watch this year on defense.
Anything final?
In honor of Jerry, what's your thought on the ACC adding injury reports?
Yeah, I don't know if Jerry likes it or not. He just wants to get the facts from me. But in honor of Jerry, I'm okay with it. We did it in the past. I don't know if it does anything. I'm not believing him. Put it that way, right? I mean, do you believe him? Guy says he's questionable, says he's doubtful, and then he plays. We've seen it all in the past. So, I don't know why we're doing it, but we'll do what they ask us to do. We'll follow the rules and get it done.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Thank you.